Oh, good afternoon, racing fans, and welcome back to the channel, proudly sponsored by Oddschecker. Okay, so it's been a very busy week for me, Jamie, and Liam. Actually, Jamie, you've been off, so maybe not so busy, but we've got a busy episode because we've got loads of Punchestown racing to get through as well. Loads of graded action, and we hope everyone that's tuned in is well. If you're able to click the like button, great. If you can click subscribe, even better. Completely free to do, and it just supports the channel a little bit more. Right, first we'll go to my usual wingman, Jamie Wrenn. You got the week off, I believe. Are you going to be enjoying the racing? Are you going to the racing? Have you got any fancies ready for the episode or what? Talk to me.
Yeah, off this week. First time ever been after the week of Punchestown. Actually, very weird. But yeah, going, I'd say 1 or 2 days, hopefully. Yeah. Um, I love the meeting. I've always loved it. And yeah, hopefully we'll tip a few winners. Yeah.
It's the last chance we've got for some sort of proper graded racing now, until obviously we do now have to switch to the flat, haven't we? So hopefully we can find some good winners on the way. And finally, Liam Firkin is making his debut on the Ginger Joe Racing Show. Really glad to have you aboard for the season, Liam. Been really busy time for you as well. Obviously, you're planning a wedding, aren't you, at the moment?
Well, I wasn't intending on it, Joe, until we got there and the missus said, "This is where we're getting married." um, yeah. I was over in France for a few days. Really enjoyed the break. Should have been far more immersed in the racing than I perhaps was. But yeah, I can't wait to get stuck into Punchestown. A little bit of a reboot, mate, I think. And yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to the next few days.
It was just when you sent me the video and you were in a bar and then you said, "Oh, they've also got a PMU machine and they had O toy." I was like, "Oh, you're in your element now, aren't you?" Sort of thing. So, right, okay. So we've got loads to get through. We'll try not to waffle on too long because there are plenty of races. We'll just touch on the graded action as usual. We'll go to Jamie at the end for some handicap fancies as well. We're going to go straight on into it though. Starting off tomorrow, the 4:15, the champion novices hurdle, the grade one over 2 miles and half a furlong. Copec the board, the supreme winner is your 4-9 favourite. Salvatore Mundi, who came good at the Aintree Festival at 3-1. Aranci was an impressive winner last time out at 9-1, and it's pretty much 22-1 bar those. James, it might be a little bit of a shootout between the first two, or is one clear of the other here?
I suppose you have to go after how far Kopek the board beat Salvatore Mundi
Mm,
at Cheltenham. Wasn't even in the screen coming up for home, really, Joe, to be
sure,
honest, Joe.
sure.
Look, I know he reversed the form of the entry, and you can't crib that. But I always thought afterwards that if you look back at the way he won a Tipperary at the start of the season, Salvatore Mundi beating nobody, and then won an entry then and beat reversed the form of Romeo Kudu comprehensively. But that was with Paul and Town on board. Now he's Patrick Mullins, and it's just a tip in itself, really. I think he'd be foolish, maybe foolish both ways to take him on, or foolish to back him at such a short price. Kopek to board. He's a weapon. He's next year's horse. He's probably an Arkle horse for next year. If people want to back Salvatore Monday, it's up to them. I really stressed, but look back at the race that Punchestown, the race he beat Calistwarian
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he beat Leave of the Duties. You couldn't put your hand on it. I know he's probably better in the flatter track, but going right-handed there because he's used to being around Otay, obviously second to Sergino all
Mm,
those years
mm.
ago. I'd be very worried going back the other way. And I know Punchestown will suit him. He will get close to Kopek to board, but will he beat him? No.
Mm.
So Rancy won well last day in grade two, isn't it? A Fairy
Yeah,
House,
yeah.
Army K, and all them. But no, he shouldn't be up to Kopek to board's level. So look, it's a shootout between the two. Salvatore Monday will get close, but Kopek to board will.
Just a quick look ahead then in that note as well, because Salvatore Mendy's been to Cheltenham twice now and disappointed. Would you be concerned about him for next year as well, even if he goes chasing? Because his two poor runs have actually come at Cheltenham. Is there anything in that, or is it just like he's an
Salvatore Monday,
improver?
Salvatore Monday. If you want me to go deep into next year,
Mm,
the first race in Aintree, the one race won by Imperial Pass, looks tailor made for Salvatore Monday because it had 8 Tom won it the year before. He just reminds me about it.
yeah, so 2.5 miles in it the first
Yeah,
day entry.
yeah. I think he'll step up and triple suit him
Yeah.
handsomely.
So Kopek the board takes the first in, Jamie. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I share that opinion. To be honest, I don't know if it's a boring way of looking at things. It just looks like a pretty smart, special horse with a huge engine. Liam, any danger for Kopek the board here, or is he likely to get it done? He's short enough in the market at the same time, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I think if there's any way that Salvatore Mundi reverses the form, it's when the ground's going to be like a road. To be perfectly
Ah,
honest,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
the better the ground, the firmer the ground, the more
Yeah.
chance he'll possibly have. But no, for me, at some point you have to resign yourself to the fact that you got it wrong, and this horse is very good, and I think Kopek de Boards is. I think this Carbu is obviously a course and distance winner here. He could be not too dissimilar to Kiss Will, who was quite impressive
Mm.
at Ayr, wasn't he, on the
Yeah.
weekend? Or Perth, was it? Sorry.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so potentially he's a horse that could improve next season and is perhaps a little bit better than what we've already seen. He was really impressive on debut. But no, Joe, something that I would very rarely do, but I'm more than happy to share, obviously, with viewers. Hopefully it goes well, given it's the first show. But Kopek de Boards is the first of a double that I'm going to play, and I generally don't play at short
Yeah.
prices. Those are obviously who are members of the premium,
Yeah,
well,
sure.
premium membership. Oddschecker will know that, but I think he's rock solid, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, look, I'm glad you both agree because although he's a short price money favourite, he ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? We've seen the engine that he's had is sort of supremely, hence the pun, obviously, because he won the Supreme, but he just looks far better than anything else. I know William Money came from a way back, but even when William Money sort of came back into the race after Coppet making the mistake at the last, he did actually pull away again a little bit, to be fair, at the line as well. So his engine's probably just far superior and hard to see that form reversed based on the form figures. Right, we're going to move swiftly on to the 450, the Champion Novices Chase, 3 miles, 1 furlong. The return of one of your favourites here, James Ballyburn at 13-8. Lecky Watson at 11-4. Imperi Pass at 5-1. Then we're going out to Slade Steel and Stellar Story at 12s. We've got Gorgeous Tom, Il Atlantique then at 18-1 as well. 50-1 bar those. Jamie, I think he's unbeaten at Punchestown actually, Ballybird, but he's still got to prove he can jump a fence adequately, but let alone slick. You know, Lecky Watson to me is a massive danger here. I know it's easy to say that because he beat him at Cheltenham, but he's unbeaten over fences now. He's probably going right under the radar. Are you going to take Ballyburn on or are you backing him? I know you love the horse, to be fair, and there's no doubt in his engine, but 13-8 to win over 3 mile, 1 furlongs at Punchestown. Is this the last roll of the dice to see if he's a Gold Cup horse for next year?
I think we touched on it myself and Liam there. That is this the last chance saloon? But will Willie Mullins bring him back hurling after this, even if he does bomb out in this? Like, I think, is it last chance saloon or is it? That's the problem with him, because Willie Mullins doesn't bring his horses back to be his stairs hurdle horse. He never does. Paul Nichols would, if he was trained by Paul Nichols. I'd put it that way, Joe.
Because he didn't even do it with Mystical Power, did he? He was still over hurdles at the same
He
time.
was
He
still
hadn't
over
gone
hurdles.
chasing.
Exactly. I'm worried. Now he can fool us all and come back and prove that he is, but I think he's a better hurdler. He was good that day when I saw him in Morgan the day when he beat Oldcastle de Mott.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
jumped and he jumped well enough really at the Dublin race best to beating Crow Park and Imperial Pass. I've always not been a fan of Lecky Watson. I don't know why.
Not even after the Browns, like, doesn't
No,
he sort of change their
no,
mind? No,
no, no.
I
I'm
thought
like,
he was
look the
so
way
good.
Barry Burn bombed out of that. Look at the form of Lecky Watson's Grade 3 race at Punchestown in January. Like, Dalmurray Lane ran in the race against Spindlebury. He was absolutely hammered. Far and Glory hasn't been seen since. Then he wins at Browns, where I think a lot of horses disappointed. But the one I'm coming down on, Joe, look, I'll go through him. Perry passed to me. He was impressive at the entry, beating Django Bay. But that's his trip, 2.5 miles. I don't know
I
what happened
agree.
to Dublin
I
Race
agree. Yeah,
Festival,
yeah.
but he's never won over 3 miles, so I couldn't have him. Um, I'm coming down. Look, if this was soft heavy, first,
You're not coming down on
no,
Slade Steel, are
no,
you?
no, no. If this was soft heavy, I would be. I think all its best form is on soft heavy. His best piece of form, obviously, is in the Nace race against Lecky Watson, where he went off odds on to beat Lecky Watson at Nace. But there's not enough rain for Slade Steel, in my opinion. But now could fool us completely on the better ground, going a tad slower, going 3 miles. But the one I've come down on, Joe, is 100% 14-12, 14-1 is Stellar Story.
Hey, love it.
The form is there. Won an Albert Bartlett. Won a Florida Pearl at Punchestown earlier in the season. Now, he does headbutt fences, unfortunately. But fourth, obviously, behind Better Days Ahead at Christmas. Second, Better Days Ahead at Navan. Second in the Browns. I think on better ground, he might jump better. And he's a grade 1 novice hurdler. if he jumps and if he jumps well, I think there's nothing to be finishing better than him in the race. So 21 each way at the moment, 14 even you can get. Will do for me. Stellar story, yeah. Really fancy.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I do like that because I think Gordo does quite well here sometimes as well. I think I remember when Mikey Potter was running. Was this where he won?
He beat Sir Gerhard into
That's
two
it.
man.
He had a fairly mediocre season, even though we knew he had ability, and then sort of just came to like a Punchestown. You're right.
It's like another. He wasn't. Mikey Potter was not a Cheltenham horse either. So it was one of
No,
those.
sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, look, I don't put anyone off there because I do really like him as a horse, and I think he jumps awful for a 3.5 miler and still manages to get close. As soon as he brushes up on that jumping, there's a big performance there, isn't he? But Liam, go back to Ballyburn here a second. You're probably going to take him on, to be honest, aren't you? This isn't one for you, is it? I can feel it.
Yeah, no, you would be right, mate. Yeah, he's not one for me at all. I would say once bitten, twice shy, but I wasn't even bit the first time. I'm sure a lot of people were who probably sat on nice prices come Cheltenham week. Lecky Watson, I'm similar to Jaime. Like, I can't take to him. I don't know why. There's no reason not to at all. So it's a little bit unfair on the horse. I think Impere Pass would have a real strong chance in here. I'm starting to feel more and more obligated to take another chance on Gorgeous Tom. Back right-handed, good ground. I really fancied him for the RSA when he finished, 8 lengths or so behind Lecky Watson. But back going right-handed, which is where he's recorded probably his best piece of form. Beat Monbeg Park by nearly 6 lengths. He's now rated 150.
Yeah.
So he'd be tempting, I think. I'll have to have a second, third, fourth, and fifth look at the race. I think.
Sure.
I might come up with something a little bit more solid.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair enough. But I think the general consensus is that we're all going to take on Ballyburn here. I am probably going to end up back in Lecky Watson. I'll see a little bit nearer the time, but I think he's being dangerously overlooked now. He's unbeaten over fences, and I think the reason that no one's latched onto him because no one latched onto him at Cheltenham as well. And it's easy then to say, well, I'm going to stick with what I thought I knew possibly, and I'd give him a chance here. But I actually do quite like Stellar Story as well. Right.
Out of interest, lad. Sorry, Joe, to interrupt. Would either of you play Slay Ballyburn in this?
I don't think I'd play Slay. I do like play Slay betting, but I don't think I'd play Slay him on the basis that because he's already won at Punchestown. I think if I was going to play Slay him, I'd have to be really concerned about his jumping. I suppose the fact that he has won here twice would give me a little bit of hope if if I was to side with that, he's probably going to act at Punchestown better than he did at Cheltenham. So I'm not so sure I would. What do you think, James? Because it is a massive worry, isn't it? Like you can't win a jump race if you can't jump.
He looked like if you want to go really deep into it, he didn't jump that badly at Kempton against Sergino going over the wrong trip.
He's just a bit slow though,
he
isn't
was just going too fast, wasn't it? To jump
he was going too fast. So I mean, like,
but inevitably though, he slowed up into his fences.
Yeah, the day he won a Punchestown and Davey was there, like, and like he jumped fluent enough, but sure, he was only going to half speed, like, do you know what I mean? They're only going to canter, and he got his own way in front, and the rest were only there for handicap marks. We all know that. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think you'll know your fate when he'd be fine. He'd be fine over the first 1 or 2, 3, then but it's down the back straight where they're fighting come up together. We see how good he is then, but if there's a proper pace, but if there's no pace, he'll get away with it. So I mean, like it all depends on the pace. If they go quick, hopefully they'll go quick.
Yeah, sure.
He's any good. Do you know what I mean? You don't want the slow run race to say, "Oh, he's the best, he's back," and the whole lot.
Sure.
But he'd be an interesting price in running.
Yeah, it's possible that he's just a little bit lazy as well. I don't know if that's something that could come into it. It might even be something to do with the head carriage.
It's the head carriage as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if his head carriage is up, you could be in business if you want to back him at that price. But if it's down early, might be a bit of trouble.
I remember when he trained. What's his name in the grey and whitey colours? York Hill, and he was the same. He had a bit of a weird sort of head carriage at first, and he turned into a monster eventually, So we know he's got the engine because we've seen it. But just going back to Liam's question, I was like, would I place Liam? You'd obviously have to have a look at the field. You've got the 3 places, but Impere Pass, don't know if he's going to stay. Snake still has to find form out of absolutely nowhere. So there's 2 I'd sort of write off straight away. you'd almost be then hoping that it would be Lecky Watson, Stella Story that beats him, and you'd probably need one more as well, then, wouldn't you, to knock him out the places. So it's a little bit of a
I suppose
difficult.
you'd potentially be getting what 10, 12 to 1 to place Lamb to 3 places,
Mhm.
perhaps on the.
It is.
No, maybe not actually, Joe. You'd
A bit less than that.
probably, yeah. It'd be longer odds than that, wouldn't it? You'd be like 1.22 or something like that on the
Yeah,
machine.
yeah, sure. Look, I don't. Again, we've all decided to take him on. I just don't know if I place Liam. But look, we love those sort of questions, so keep them coming, Liam. Right, we're going to go on to the 6 o'clock. But before we do, I'm just going to mention a notable runner in the 525, which is the bumper. We have a horse running called Leader the Board. He's a half brother to Kopek the Board. Just interesting to see how he gets on debut. He picked up for about 215 grand. So the only thing I'd be cautious about there is that Gigginstown, when they're buying their bumper horses, they haven't had much luck recently, so they'll need that to change if he's going to be a smart one, because there's some pretty decent horses in that lineup. In the 6 o'clock, we have the 2 mile champion chase, the grade 1. Probably quite important to mention, James, to be honest, isn't it? It's 2 miles, half a
We should get the
furlong.
drum roll out, Liam. Show me.
Yeah. Well,
Go on, let you go. We'll let you go.
for
Go
the
on,
mi- for,
sell him again.
yeah,
Go
for
on.
the thousandth time this season, I've been saying he's going to be coming good as the season goes on. He's been jumping better. He's got quicker.
In
He's got
fairness, yeah.
his ground. He's got no excuses, to be honest. So I'm not going to bore everyone with what I think. But this is, again, using my head and not being smart about it. This is a serious test, isn't it, against Factor File? But I don't know if I'd want to take odds on about Factor File dropping back to 2 miles when they've been trying to build him as a 3 mile, 3 mile, 2 furlong horse. So I don't think it's necessarily as obvious as most people think, but it is without doubt between these two. Factor File 5 to 6, Marie National 5 to 4, 9 to 4, sorry. Al Fabiolo 9 to 1, you can forget that. Solness at 9s, Captain Guinness at 28s, and Seneca at 66 to 1. But go the other way around, actually, Liam. Factor File or Marine National?
I'm sorry, this is the second part of my muggy double, Joe. And yeah, it's not marine. However, I suppose, can I just throw a question back to you? Obviously, I haven't been in the country the last few days. Has there been deluges of rain prior to this really nice spell over in Ireland?
I don't think so. We had it before, didn't we, Jamie? And now it's like,
You don't live in Ireland now, so you don't count anymore. You don't move on now. You don't live in Carlow anymore. No, to be honest with you, Liam, all jokes aside, there was a lot of rain in the country for last week. For the last week, lots of downpours all over the country. There
Yeah.
has been a drop all weekend.
So
Fair enough. Okay,
current-
so I know that it's kind of
gonna
around
dry
about
out.
20
It's
degrees.
going to be worse. Like it's going to like Fridays, like Thursday evening, Friday, Saturday. You're going to have a lot of non-runners.
Do you think what? Because it's going to get faster.
It's going to get really fast because
Yeah.
it's 21 degrees. Like it's going to be like I know on the other side of the country, it's 21 degrees here for Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Sure.
But
Okay,
that's the one thing I think, Joe, that Marine National certainly has in his favour, and especially given the race off time as well. Like the
Sure.
peak of the day and the hottest point of it's 3-4 o'clock. They're going to have 21 degrees sun throughout
Yeah.
tomorrow, and then obviously you've had the decent weather today. So the more it dries, I don't care what water they throw on it, given the temperatures. I do start thinking, should I just perhaps halve my stake on this muggy double, to be honest with you. And the fact that Solness is there, and I think it could be a repeat where Marine National could just pick up the pieces. The drier it gets, the more chance he's got. I do just think that Factor File has the class edge. So reluctantly, yeah, that's the second part of my muggy day one double, mate.
I love it that Marina's striking fear into that double of yours, though, Liam. It's only natural, mate. He's just built for speed. It's only natural, mate, honestly. Jamie, I assume you're with Factor File here then, just from what we're saying, really, in all honesty.
I'm not 100% on Factor File either, Joe, especially on the ground.
The faster it gets, the less it will be in his favour. Let's put it that way, won't it?
100%, yeah. The stat is saying that I crib Marine National going right-handed, but he's won 3 over 3, isn't it, right-handed?
Won at Killarney, won the Royal Bond. Oh, wait, Killarney's left-handed, isn't it?
Yeah, Killarney's left-handed.
Yeah,
But no, he won the Royal Bond, and he won his debut Punchestown on good ground. I understand. But my problem with him, if it's fasty run with Sinisa and Solness in the race, that it really will test these jumping coming from left-handed to right-handed. And that's my only cribbing, because like if this was left-handed, he would be an absolute banker, in my opinion, on the ground.
Yeah, sure.
But the start, if you look back at the start of Queen Mother, Solness was completely on the wrong side of the track. John Bond got caught as well, which is no excuse that he
Hey,
made a mistake.
Marine got caught, but he was just on the inside.
But Marine was up the inside in the right spot. You got it its way, and that's it. I'm just a slightly worried with the pace angle of the race that if Sanders gets his way like he did at Dumb Race Festival, like the ground, like ground at Leopardstown, regardless of what they say, is always different what they describe. I don't care what it says. But like when you beat Gaelic Warrior at Christmas, that was decent ground. It's
Yeah,
always decent. It's never like it rarely gets bottomless at Leopardstown unless there's an absolute deluge. Do you know what I mean?
sure.
And I think if he gets to stop it, the problem is here Sneeze in the race. And if he doesn't get to the front early, Sanders, they'll probably go too fast. My only problem with Fact to Fight is that is this another afterthought that Allaho won at Ryanair? Now they're going to try Fact to Fight for McManus to win a. I know Cheveley Park or Allaho, but is this another afterthought trying to because they know Marsburg is not going to win a championship?
Jamie, where do you think he would go if it wasn't JP owned? Because obviously Spillane Tower's
Fact to
going.
Fight, if he wasn't JP owned,
Yeah,
he'd be in the Gold Cup against Bamberg
yeah,
and
yeah.
Punchestown. There's no doubt about it because there's no 2.5 mile race to Punchestown.
I agree. I agree.
It's a tricky one, Joe. It is a tricky race, but I think if he gets a soft lead, it's a pity there isn't 8 runners because Sanders will be each way better than nothing. But it's going to be an in-run play for me because if Sanders gets a soft lead, I'll back Sanders. Do you know what I mean? If he gets to the front early, he's going to be hard to pick back, even on the better ground. And this will really test Fact to Five. Fact to Five could win a bumper, like proper bumper. Do you know what I mean? Where are they thinking he's going to get his speed from? Do you know what I mean? That's would just be his cruising speed is there to be seen, but I still think he's a 2.5 miler. So
Yeah,
it's an
sure.
interesting race. So technically, you should back the champion chaser on better ground. So
Sure.
I don't know. I'm going to back Stanless for the interest.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Is it 100% that I'll hang my mortgage on? Oh God, no. But I think it's
No,
just take a cheeky 10 or a 10 to 1 or something.
yeah,
Like
you've
no,
got
just
if you,
be just for an interest, and then maybe have a few bet online in running.
yeah.
But I just want to see Marie National and good ground going right-handed to make my 100% opinion of
The,
them. He's a top class horse.
So half the field, Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to feel that. But I will not back to fight at that price over 2 miles. Not a chance in the world. No.
You make a fair point though about the jumping. To be fair, with Marine going right-handed because he's got to go out there and do it, basically, sort of thing.
Yeah, I just want to see him at a quick pace going right and
Yeah.
see if he's the top class horse that you think he is, and hopefully that
Oh,
he's one to a champion chases.
I think he's proven it now. People keep coming to me saying this. I'm like, please say what you want. He's won a Supreme and he's won a Champion Chase. I'm like, you can say what you want now. It's like
What's wrong with that? Exactly.
he's done his business.
So I think, Joe, that there'll be a change of mentality like there was with Gaelic Warrior. So loads of people were like, "Oh, this thing's so well handicapped, couldn't even win a Boodles." He ended up winning handicap, exactly. And now there's a genuine, I think, appreciation for the quality of the horse. And I think that eventually that will turn with Marine National as well.
I agree because that's ignited his career for me, Gaelic Warrior. These last 2 runs for him to go out to these sort of staying trips, like definitely. But look, everyone keeps saying Barry's clueless. He's done everything with Marie National that he told you he would do, and he's won both of those Grade 1s at the Cheltenham Festival, like he said he would do. So look, it's going to be a hell of a race. I can't wait to see him. And to be honest, if he finished second to Fact to File and they were both fighting it out at the home straight, I'd be more than happy. It's yielding ground at the moment. So we got good to soft. The faster it gets, the better. He's built for speed. He's by French Navy. God, I just love him to go and back it up. I really, really would. Right, swiftly on to Wednesday. The novice hurdle over 3 miles. I think I've got that right next, haven't we? With Jasmine DeVoe at 11 to 8. Honesty Policy, who is an absolute machine at 11 to 4. 8 to 1 for Card Counter. 11 to 1 for Familiar Dreams, and any price you like for the remainder. Before I go to Jamie, Jasmine DeVoe obviously surprised us a little bit in the Albert Bartlett, but I tell you what, this Honesty Policy, this is an absolute weapon of a horse. I don't like to say weapon. I don't really like that usually, but this is a weapon. He ended up winning a point-to-point in November, and he's already a Grade 1 winner now over hurdles. He's come a long, long way in a short space of time. If they send him chasing next year, he is a force to be reckoned with. And I will be backing him this week, regardless of what happens with Jasmine DeVoe. Still got jumping to prove Jasmine DeVoe, but his jumping's good, Jane. 11 to 8.
No.
Fancying?
No. I'll take him on all day, Joe, especially the run, regardless that there's no hurdlers and that. He run last year on better ground, the way he was absolutely slammed by Redemption Day in the bumper last year.
Oh, yeah.
That'll tell you all you need to know about Jasmine DeVoe. the galloping track suited Jasmine DeVoe. I'll steal a bit of what Liam Firkin said to me earlier. Like not much stressed about the old saying that there's 7 furlongs in the new track at Cheltenham. There's only 2 hurdles, and that
Sure,
suited
sure.
it down to the ground. Townend give it a fantastic ride. You have to admit that. But Townend knows.
Yeah.
Townend to me is better on the new course than he is in the old course. There's no doubt about that. He gets to the rail. He knows what he's doing. Oh, 11 to 8 is a complete lay here.
Did he ride Burning Victory in the Triumph that day when he had State Man and
Burning Victory.
Galopman? It was the other
Burning
one he had as well, but
State Man, he'd sure won a county the way he did it that day, or got to the rail and the way he went in the
yeah,
county.
yeah.
But I'm with you, Joe. I think like it's because it's only his 6th run in his life, and the way it beat Regis Stroll at
Oh,
Aintree.
honestly,
I'm like an extra 4 furlongs with love. Like, he's a 3 miler,
yeah.
jumps well. Bit disappointed with his debut, but that was soft to heavy in Nace, and then he's actually come on for that slowly but surely. Could you crib the form he's grade one? Not really. It's not a bad grade one for Aintree.
Look, he came from just off the pace as well. He was
Yeah.
strong at the finish.
So, I mean, I can't see anything other in this race, Joe. It's poor enough for grade one,
Yeah.
to be honest, Joe. I know we have Denver part of it, or how can I say it's a poor grade
Sure.
one? But I think the way he's improving, and obviously McMahon has bought it off that, and obviously the same crowd that own Honesty Policy before have car counter in here. But it's just the way because McMahon has bought it. They know what they got.
Sure.
He's definitely, unfortunately, he'd be definitely one. He could be Brown's horse next year, but if it was an old National Hunt Chase rules, I'd be all over him for that because I think the further he goes, the better he is.
Sure.
I think he'll win here, yeah. 11 to 4 3. You want to find out to beat Jasmine DeVoe is definitely value to beat him, yeah.
Interesting what you said there about Paul Townend winning it really with Jasmine DeVoe Cheltenham, because that's what happened with Harry Cobden and Burdett Road in the Greatwood. Burdett Road can't jump for toffee, but he lifted him at every hurdle from the front and got him to win. That was my favourite ride of the year. That was for Harry Cobden. Liam, anything to add really there? You got Jasmine DeVoe, Honesty Policy, a little bit more difficult going down the field in this one, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is, Joe. I can't really make much of a case for anything at,
Yeah.
a juicy price. As Jamie alluded to, obviously we spoke about this race earlier, and the only thing that I'm a little bit peeved about is the fact that Honesty Policy was 6s when we last spoke, and what I'm currently seeing is around about 11 to 4 now.
Yeah. Sure.
So I'm just a bit annoyed I didn't back up my own opinion and stick some money on him. So yeah, I won't be tipping or anything like that, mate. But if you're not as price sensitive as perhaps I am, I think he's the most likely winner.
Yeah, sure.
They'll take more jumping around here for Jasmine DeVoe, and yeah, I'd be over this JP horse. And if you see him out chasing around, I don't know, Ballinrobe in August, you know what the plan is. They are going National Chase or the
yeah, definitely. I'd hope he's a little bit better than that. Like, I'd hope, but we don't know, do we? Really? Like, it's that. It just depends on what they want, because he could be a Stayers hurdle horse, he could be a National Hunt horse, National Hunt Chase horse, like you said. We could be a horse. But I'm a little bit similar to you, Liam, because I missed this price at Aintree. To be honest, I didn't even really consider him until he was travelling well halfway around. I thought, Jesus Christ, they've got a good one here. And I think Gordo had won 4 of the last 5 renewals of that race at Aintree as well. So I was fuming with myself, really, that I missed that. But right, okay, we will move on. 450, we have one of the bumpers, one of about 4 or 5 bumpers that we got this week. Bambino Fever. Great to see Jodie Townend retaining the ride down Bambino Fever after winning the bumper. You got Cole Cannon, the really impressive winner at the DRF. And then Patrick Mullen just sticking to Copacabana. Some pretty decent horses a little bit further down. Not a race I'm going to be having a punt in. If I do, I'll probably side with Cole Cannon on the basis that he got me and my followers a few quid back at the DRF. It was much needed at the time as well. And I even half stole that selection off what Jamie was telling us.
Half stole that selection off Jamie Wrenn. No, he stole it off Jamie Wrenn.
And look, yeah, but look, in all, you've got to
even Firkin's agreeing.
Hey, I'm trying to give you some credit here. You've got to listen to what people tell you, and it helps you sometimes, doesn't it? And this is one of those. And look, I followed you, but I got a much shorter price than you did as well at the same time. But Jesus Christ, he was impressive. James, I'll come with you then. Cole Cannon, is he just going to win this again, or have you got your idea on something else? Because this will obviously be his last bumper now. He's had so much experience in these bumpers, hence why he couldn't go to Cheltenham, but also hence why he's going to come here completely fresh for it too.
Yeah, you can't be half impressed by the way he travelling that day at race, Joe. Well backed, obviously. I got obviously the 20 to 1. Happy days. He went shorter in a day with a few horses that were pulled, obviously, for the rest. I'm just hanging on about I suppose, the other side of it is odd for like the two. To me, it's a two-horse race, right? Between Bambino and Cannon. Like Cannon, you have to remember in this meeting last year was beaten
Mm.
11 lengths by 6.5.
Oh yeah, this was that race. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah,
Six
yeah.
and a half at the end of the last bumper on the Tuesday of this
Ooh.
meeting last year, and then went
Do
to
you reckon it's the
Galway
course?
in.
Is it the course he didn't like? I
No,
don't.
no, no, no. It's just 6.5 was a decent bumper
Yeah.
mare and went on to win races on the flat. But it's because there where I kind of latched onto him was that the race in August in Galway, heads up goes off like the clappers, and heads up went really fast down the dip, and it looked like Colin was in trouble, but Derek O'Connor just gave it a bit of a tug, and in a way it went, and it caught heads up. I'm like, heads up then, obviously finished second to Calypso Chance and Listed Bumper then at Neva, and then finished second, obviously, in the bumper
Mm.
to Bambino Fever. I'm like, Bambino Fever's form is all there to be seen. What very impressively at the Dublin Race Festival, and Spitcham beat Spitcham Diesel by 7 lengths. Spitcham Diesel is one at Naas, is one at a listed race at Fairy House afterwards.
So she could be a very, very
Very
good mare,
impressive,
maybe.
and he is a decent mare. But it's the way, and the other side of it, Colin Cannon beats Sortudo of Willie Mullins. He's one of his bigger lights, but Willie Mullins' bumper horses has been just Bambino Fever this year.
Mm. Mm.
Sortudo just won there at the Easter Festival by 12 lengths, and Colin Cannon absolutely hammered at the Dublin Race. So it's a very tough one because there's form that heads up with Bambino and with Colin Cannon. But I told you, Joe, even the Dublin Race Festival preview, I really like this horse. This could be a proper horse going forward. He's so much experience compared to Bambino, but Bambino, well, technique will be a mare's novice hurdle chance for next year.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it's £7 as well. He has to give Conor Candice their side, but 3 to 1 to find out to beat Bambino favor
Mm.
with Derek O'Connor up. Yeah, I just love the horse. I might be stupid to keep following it, but sometimes you have to. So I think Conor Cannon will win you 3 to 1.
Yeah,
I'd be
fair
back
enough.
with you.
It's only £3 this time though, because she won the champion bumper. It's only
Only
three
£3.
pounds.
Oh, even better. Certainty. So.
But still, isn't it? Exactly. Right. Bumpers, are they your thing, Liam? Do you enjoy them much, or do you bet on them much, or not really?
Not really. The champion bumper, I would tend to, and I feel like I've been bitten slightly, especially in Punchestown bumpers in the past. So just a very quick, short story. But Walkaway Harry, I saw him win a bumper here. I think it was over 2 mile two later on in the week.
Charles Burns.
Yes, for Charles Burns. I thought he was extremely impressive. There were secondary form lines with the horses that he beat that related to Ballyburn, who was currently very, very short for the Supreme and the Turners at the time. So I punted him and had quite a hefty amount early on in the season, 66 to 1 for the Albert
Jeez.
Bartlett.
I remember this. I do.
And I fell in love slightly with the story. So it was a group of lads who got together, got bladdered in a pub, decided to buy a horse, but they had to keep it secret from all their wives. So they called themselves the Area 51 Syndicate.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Yeah, classic.
He owes me an awful lot of money, and I'm still waiting for him to win a maiden hurdle off a mark of about 109. So the short answer, Joe, is no, they're not for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wouldn't it have been great if they he got to a great channel, like had to tell the ladies then we're off to Cheltenham because we've got a horse run, and they've got what?
Yeah, no, it would have been, but yeah. So I was slightly bitten with that experience. I don't think I was the only one. He just hasn't shown the form that everyone hoped.
Mate, there's always someone else that gets bit by these horses. Absolutely. 5:30. We move on to the Punchestown Gold Cup. Only the 4 runners. Galopin de Champ at 6 to 5. Spillans Tower 11 to 4. Banbridge at 4 to 1, and then Monty Star at 12s. Is this time for the reigning champ to get back into the winners' enclosure, Liam? He's a stupendous horse. 3 Irish Gold Cups, 2 Cheltenham Gold Cups. Could he come and win a Punchestown Gold Cup now? Only a 4 field, effectively, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I absolutely adore him, Joe. I think as any horse racing fan does now. Obviously, we had the nonsense earlier in the year about him not capturing the imagination of racing fans. Obviously, we were all there together. That couldn't have been further from the truth when
Absolutely.
Even when he was pre-parading, never mind the race he ran. Yeah, I fell in love with him as soon as he went chasing. I was backing him for the Gold Cup in his novice season.
Yeah, yeah,
But however, I think it's consistent with his form, the fact that he has started and finished each season with his poorest of performances that have come on right-handed tracks at this venue. And for me, I've gone against him. I'm sure it's more than acceptable for me to say so. Now I have put him up as an Ante-Post selection over at Oddschecker at 11-2. I appreciate that a price isn't around now, but I still think 4-1 at Banbridge is more than reasonable. And I think the drying ground, going right-handed, all his best performances have come this way round. Last year at this venue, of course, the King George, where he's given a superb ride by Paul Town, and that was pretty incredible. And of course, being a previous winner at Kempton as well. I think a lot of his better performances have come this way round, even in ground that hasn't suited.
yeah.
I think many thought that he was still going to get up and win to beat Energumene at Cork earlier in the season. So I'd be pretty sweet on him for this week, Joe. Hence, obviously, why I stuck him up a good few weeks ago.
Love it. Yeah, nice from him. Lovely. I actually fancy taking him on here a little bit. I don't really know why, but Monty Starr is calling my name this time. Hasn't shown us his best yet, but he's a seriously good jumper. I just think perhaps at the end of the season, maybe the time that he's going to be able to nick one of these big races. But look, Galopin I'd love to see him win. I've mentioned this before, but the most amazing thing about Galopin is he is not bred to be a Gold Cup horse. But Willie Mullins has manufactured him into being something he's not. He's done the same with Iron Maximus to win a Grand National. Stupendous what he's done with Galopin and I hope he goes and gets the job done. Jamie, you're going to have to hold the fort and start talking with your name. I need to go get my charger. But talk to everyone and tell us if Galopin does or doesn't win.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, great, great. Can we move on? Thank God he's gone. No, I'm only messing. No, I'm with lads. To everyone who's watching, I'm with Liam Firkin all day. Yeah, I backed him at 5-1. Liam got the 11-2 to put him up on Oddschecker, obviously, and he's Collium. The way I look at the race, it's going to be tactical. Liam, I think we touched on it earlier that I think Galopin is going to go out in front. He's no choice but to go out in front, like he did in the Durkin, like he does in every race that he does when he wins, really. That's just my feeling of him.
Jay, sorry, do you think that Monty Starr at all will kind of hustle or hassle him out in front like he did New Year's Day?
I just can't see it because I don't think Monty Starr has the cruising speed to keep up with him, Liam, to be honest with you. Star obviously beat Monty Starr in the Grade 1, the race Ballyburn, like he was on a run this time last year on the Tuesday. And that was yielding ground. Like, he'll get away with it, but they're obviously, Mangan was obviously worried about the ground coming over for the King George. And that proved that he needs a bit of cut in the ground. All his best forms on soft to heavy ground anyway, Star. I couldn't have him. Now he might fool me again like he did last year because I was on Monty Star in the race that Star beat it last year in, unfortunately. But exactly, I'm all over Banbridge here. I mean, like, the way it won the King George, the faster the ground, the better. 1 to 2 mile champion chase last year at Punchestown. I know it only beat Captain Guinness, who's still a champion chaser. Beat Dino Blue, won at Cheltenham Festival. Do you know, the form is there. Beat, obviously, in front in the King George. So, no, I'm the same as you, Liam. We're all for Banbridge. All aboard, GSI.
And who would you have to follow him home then, Jamie? Do you reckon? If obviously we are right and Banbridge gets his head in front,
Galopin will be second too.
Yeah. You don't think Splans Tower can?
No, I couldn't have the two of them. I think the form last year was Grade 1 novice chasers. Really, like Factify. Like, do you know, if you look back at these Browns, because of the ground was so soft that day, Liam, that was a crawl. I mean, it was a complete crawl. I mean, I know El Fabiola lost the champion chase by jumping. But that day, I mean, like, even the cross country member was cancelled last year at the Cheltenham Festival.
Of course it was, yeah. That was only a 6-day card, wasn't it? On the
It'll tell you how bad the ground was maybe last year at Cheltenham compared to this year. So, I mean, like, no. I think the only reason Factify got away with it winning a Browns because they went so slow.
Yeah.
And he just did them for bumper speed. But no, Banbridge all day. Like, if Banbridge can't win this, he might as well give up. And that's just me. And that's no disrespect to a 2-time Gold Cup winner.
Yeah, they might feel a slightly tripless with him. Obviously, it's a little bit more undulating, isn't it? Well, far more undulating at Punchestown than Kempton. And maybe he just it is a bit of a flat track.
It is undulating at Punchestown, I agree with you. But it is because of, I know what you're saying, it's tough when they come up the hill there's a fence up the top of the hill past the winning post. But then it's all downhill after that. So they get a bit of momentum going all the way up then to make it go down the back straight. And it's not that much of a stiff finish, you know what I mean? It is kind of it's a half and half. It is an undulating track, there's no doubt about it. But it's a bit more of a speed track for an undulation track compared to Cheltenham, where you go high, but then you go very low and dip around. And you have to keep
Yeah.
your momentum to jump those 4 or 5 fences down the back before you come from home. So it's a different track to a lot of people. Banbridge is better going right-handed, Liam. I think it's been proven that all his best form, like exactly what you said in Cork that day, if he jumped the last, he'd definitely give him an Ergme and a fried over 2 miles.
If you two can carry on, we've got some mid-episode drama here because I'm moving house and I can't find the charger. It might still be in the car. If you two are okay to carry on,
yeah,
we'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right.
So
where are we off to next then, Jay?
Is that the end of the grade ones? On Wednesday, sorry.
We have yes, I think it will be because the Stayers Hurdle's the main event on the Thursday.
So, Liam, to the what is it? The 5:25 on the Thursday. The Barberstown Castle Novice Chase. I don't have prices here, but we kind of touched on it here earlier.
Yes.
We have Majborough coming back from the Arkle, and we have Jazzy Matty, Jenna Walapan, Rubo at Oni by Night. We kind of touched on earlier over on another show. What did you think here? I kind of fancy. I backed the horse in here at 20 to 1. Majborough 4-7. Would it tickle your fancy?
Not particularly, mate. No. I think if you start to look at the form lines, the fact that he beat stablemates going right-handed on his first start over fences, he then beat Touch Me Not by 9 lengths, who was well beaten by Loda Sud in the King Henry. He was well beaten by him, and then Touch Me Not has then finished 55 odd lengths behind the eventual winner of the Arkle, Django Bay, and then about 14 and a half lengths on his next start. He's a horse I actually really liked at the start of the season. Lovely jumper, Touch Me Not. But I just think potentially the ability of Majborough has been slightly overplayed. So from my perspective, no, I wouldn't be going near him at that price.
4-7 actually. I'm sorry, 4-7 Majborough, 9-2 Oni by Night, 16 to 1 Genova Pan, 20s Jazzy Matty, and 25s Rubo.
Love to see Jazzy Matty throw his hat in this ring, only from an emotional perspective, which isn't going to make anybody else any money. I wouldn't be parting any cash on him in a grade 1. I don't think he has the ability to compete in this, but he's a horse that will be dear to my heart after winning the Grand Annual at nice prices for me. But no, I'll allow you to touch on the one that I know that you fancy, Jay. But for me, it's the second one in the betting, Only by Night. I think she's shown this season that she's probably improved in terms of constitution. Her form fell off a cliff really at the back end of last season, but she's continued to string really good runs together consistently throughout the springtime, and obviously getting the allowance from the boys in this, the performance she put up at Cheltenham, been really impressed with her for most of the season. So if I were to have a bet in this, it would potentially be her, or alternatively another horse that likes going right-handed, but as I say, I'll let you take that one away.
Yeah, I was saying with you, Liam. When I looked at the entries, that I thought Only by Night was the bet here. I'm slightly worried about the ground and that she was pulled in the entry. Her most impressive performance was in the Listens Mares race at Cork. I think that was on Hillyway Day. She was really good. I just worried about the ground slightly. Majborough my food is all, but it's like the form of these races at Fairy House and his debut between Tullyhill and Asian Master is not great, is it? No, it's not. And I was always, remember we were to stand together, and I was just always worried about he's jumping in an Arkle, but I thought he's class to get him out of it, but obviously he didn't in the Arkle. But the one I backed it was Rubo. He's probably doesn't have the class to beat these really, but it's just I'm going on ground, and the way he's won elite hurdles around Wincanton going right-handed. He obviously ran the race on debut between Ballyburn and Sorgino. He fell. Then he was second in the Kingmaker at Warwick to Ludlow, beating a length. Then he stepped up to 2.5 miles in the Pendle at Kempton. Look, we touched on it obviously earlier that Cobb didn't give it a really, really good ride. You know what I mean? Like, get him in for 2.5 miles. But I still think he's a 2 miler on better ground. He was fifth, obviously, 15 lengths behind Imperial passing the Grade 1 Manifesto. But I think he's just a right-handed horse.
It's almost as if, Jay, the distance is that if you go up in distance at Kempton, it kind of doesn't count.
No, I agree. I agree.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I agree.
Um,
But no, I think it's just because this is going to cut up. You're probably going to have 4 or 5 runner race. And if you can back it now, Ante-Post 20 to 1 each way, you get the first 3, 5 runners. Like, he might be third. You're getting 4 to 1, as a place, 7 to 2 maybe, as a place. Compared to back in Marysborough 4 to 7, I think it's just a cracking bet. And look, hopefully, Paul Nichols have as they say over in Ireland, the Lee Roadies to come over and take on the Irish, and hopefully he does. So anyway, we move on to the 6 o'clock on the Thursday, the Labrooks Champion Stairs Hurdle, and the favourite here is the reigning and beating, unfortunately, Stairs Hurdle, once Stairs Hurdle champion in Teahupoo, 2 to 1 on the best odds. Bob Onitter's 11 to 4, 6 Hidden Valley Lake, 8 Jade Grugy, 10 Rocky's Diamonds, 14 Home by the Lee. We won't say it was 16 to 1 because I think I stole Liam Firkin's Thunder earlier. And we'll say them after. Our steering Fallon is 20s and Chatara's 20 to 1 bar. Liam, I think you're with me with the each way poke that we said earlier. Are you with me? And is it a Fergal O'Brien horse?
It is, but given the fact that you've tipped this horse up probably on numerous occasions on this show, Jamie, I'll give a mention to another. Again, I'm yet to come down firmly on one, but yeah, I'd certainly be in the same camp as you, Jamie, to be honest, with the Fergal horse, and I hope he does come here. But the other that I did think was perhaps worth a mention is Jatara. Obviously getting the £7 allowance again. She just runs a race every single time. I thought she was coming there to win at Aintree the last day, before obviously being pipped by Hidden Valley Lake, who's subsequently franked the form of the other horse that obviously we were referring to. So that would be on my radar. July Flower potentially as well. And I think potentially there might be more improvement to come from a couple of the younger Irish horses. Obviously, Kids Ball and Rocky's Diamond, both 5-year-olds. So who knows where their ceiling is at? But no, there's certainly one that's much more of a more confident selection, Jamie. And yeah, as you've referred to, that's Crambo.
Yeah, I'm with you here, Liam. Crambo all day. I said it before earlier in the season. Look, Teahupoo, look, because of Rob Corr, the first 3 to betting, I think they'll leave it off. I think they'll especially the way it's drying out. I think they'll leave it off and save them for next season. Back to Hatton's Grace again. I thought they might make use of more next season. Might maybe run him at Leopardstown at Christmas. Bob Ottinger with the string of bow of 2s to his name. Still think he's a 2.5 miler. I'd be worried about him around Punchestown compared to Cheltenham. He'd never been beaten at Cheltenham. But the one that shocked me in Entry is the only one I think you're going back. Obviously, we said it earlier about this is to do with the long walk hurdle in December in Ascot. Crambo beating Hidden Valley Lake. Hidden Valley Lake obviously beat strong leader in the Grade 1 in Entry, but 6 to 1 Hidden Valley Lake was beaten by Crambo at Ascot, and you're getting 16 to 1 Crambo is insane. And I hope Fergal brings him over, and I think he'll win. I think he's a stone better off going right-handed. And
6 from 6, Jay, going right-handed.
6, yeah.
Sorry, did you just say Crambo's going to win in Ireland?
Yep.
You're losing your mind, Mr. Wrenn. You're losing your mind.
I'm not losing my mind because it's between 2 horses. It's between Crambo and Hidden Valley Lakes. I think Hidden Valley Lake 6 to 1 compared to 16 to 1 Crambo, to find out after beating Hidden Valley Lake in a long walk is absolutely nuts. So yeah, 16 to 1 Crambo for me as well, like Liam. Joe, come on. You think we're talking nonsense? Go on, tell me you're back.
I think Bob Ollinger's going to take some beating again. I do, lads. I think he's in fine form. What's not to like? I think he's going to come here and enjoy conditions. I wouldn't be so sure that Teahupoo's going to run here, mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they left him out of the race. But the plan with Bob Ollinger was to run him at Cheltenham and then send him to the American Grand National as his final swan song in October. But he ran so well at Cheltenham, I reckon it will be absolutely geared up for this. I reckon that is why he's in the race. I don't think he'd be here for any other reason. Don't fancy Hidden Valley Lake. I think Bob Ollinger's actually a good thing here at the age of 10, if you can call a 10-year-old a good thing. But I don't fancy Teahupoo in these conditions as well. They're not going to go quick. So if it turns into a sprint again, Bob Ollinger's going to pick up the pieces, isn't he? But I can't.
Given that Tiupu's taken up like what 33%, 30% of the market, then surely I suppose the play is anything you do fancy, be punting it now.
Yeah, sure.
You'll be getting a far bigger price than
Yeah.
anything else that will be on the day.
Yeah, that's a smart move. That is a smart move. You're probably right there, actually, Liam, as well. Because if Tiahupu does run, I'll be laying the knackers off him as well. I will probably go to town on that on this ground, to be honest. But yeah, look, I don't think he's going to run. So I'd say what Liam's mentioned is a smart play. Are we on to Friday now, then, lads? Yep. So I obviously had to find
Yeah.
the charger in between moving out. So that was a bit of chaos off screen right then. Right, we've got the Mares Chase, the Grade 2, the 450. A lot of familiar faces here. Dino Blue, Allegory Devassi, Spindlebury, Theatre Native. Now, she was pretty impressive, wasn't she, at Cheltenham? Bride's Hill, not a race I have any interest in whatsoever, James. Obviously, we love Spindlebury. She's becoming a proper top-class mare, but I'm not sure she'll turn up here. Mullins has got a couple others, and I think that's probably where they'll go. Dino Blue and Allegory will turn up, won't they? Talk to me, I guess, James. What do you fancy? Because I don't fancy a thing in this.
I'd be penalty kick for Dino Blue. Move on.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, Spindlebury won't turn up here. It's grade 1.
Yeah, she's too soon for her, isn't it? Like, she's a hell of a horse, though, isn't she? She is a. I didn't buy it when you said it a couple of starts back, but she's turned into a good one, hasn't she?
Horse. Yeah, she's definitely a Mare's Chase horse for next year.
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you what, next year the Mare's Chase could be unbelievable, couldn't it?
Yeah, be a good race. Yeah.
Right. So Friday we have the Mare's Chase. What have we got next? Yes, we have the Champion Novices Hurdle, the 2.5 miler, the 6:05. We've got the likes of Final Demand. Copex in here, but he's not going to go, nor is Salvatore Monday. It looks like we could have Final Demand versus the Yellow Clay Tripoli Flyer. Shouldn't even bother with that thing. There's a horse I really like in here, though, called Lovely Hurling for Cole Murphy. Now, really interesting profile because he is out of a dam. What's her name? I always forget it. Called There Is No Point. She's had three horses. Kadarthea, who we obviously remember, she's really good. Lovely Hurling. And then there's this other one, Gorab Maithagat. It's got this really long name. I can't say it whatsoever, but
Gorab Mahagut.
yeah, that's the thing. That's it, James. Like, thanks for stepping in eventually.
And the other one's Cadaharla.
Yeah, Cadathalia. Cadathala.
Cadaharla.
God, it's getting me all confused now. Anyway, interesting run here. James, any strong fancy here? It's hard to know who's actually going to turn up, to be honest, isn't it?
I don't think Final Man will go, Joe.
Ground because of the ground, or
ground? Yeah, I don't think he'll go. I think I see a lot of people. I don't know, whatever I saw this morning, that it's not going to go, because I think the ground will dry up too quickly. It's just a penalty kick from the yellow clay.
You
Second,
think so,
obviously, on better ground to Redemption Day last year in the bumper, beating Willie Money into third.
Yeah.
Second, obviously, to the next year's champion hurdler and the new line at in what I always call it, the Neptune Ballymore, whatever it's called now. Won in Lawlers very impressively. You can't not like Yellow Clay, and he's going to be, to me, a 3-mile Browns chaser next year.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a really good horse, Yellow Clay. He doesn't get the credit that he's due. Penalty kick, he'll win easy.
Yeah, he had such a good season as well. He went sort of just like, if you could paint a picture of the perfect season, he went maiden hurdle, grade 3, grade 2, grade 1, then Cheltenham. He had everything geared for him. Gutted on the day though, because I put up the new line as a horse to follow at the beginning of this season before he'd even jumped a hurdle. Yeah, come the day when Yellow Clay went out to 11-2, I smashed that each way button. I thought that was a each way bet to nothing.
I told everyone that Cello form was worth its weight in gold with Regent Stroll, Joe.
Yeah, well, look at Wendigo. He finished second in the race, didn't he, as well? So, hey, look, it's worked out well. Have you had a look at this race, Liam?
I have briefly, mate. I think once prices are out, there's not going to be much that floats my boat, and I think it will just be a watching event. And I kind of make it between the three horses. Whether Final Demand can reverse the form, I'm not so sure.
Jane doesn't think he's going to go.
Say again, sorry.
Jane doesn't think Final Demand's going to go, and I see that as well, possibly with the ground being on the far side, maybe.
Yeah, no, very true. He's kind of a little bit of an in-between novice, isn't he? But
Yeah.
at the moment, and I know Willie doesn't really like to bottom them out, whether they're novice hurdlers or chasers. Does he? Yeah, that's obviously probably why he's quite frustrated that the Turners to its
Yeah.
original format had
Yeah.
gone. So yeah, I'd end up assuming that the yellow clay. You never know. We can grow arms and legs of this double for the first day and add the yellow clay in. Perhaps I think he's the most likely winner as well. I'd like to try and make a case for something at a price, but I don't think I really can.
Look, I'm in the same boat. I'd like to see the field as well before I make my mind up. But if the yellow clay does turn up and final demand doesn't, I would definitely be leaning that way. The 640, we have the Punchestown Champion Hurdle, the Grade 1. And interestingly, we have Constitution Hill as your 5-4 favourite. We've got State Man at 13-8, Brighter Days Ahead at 7-1, the Champion Hurdle winner, Golden Ace at 10-1, then any price you like for the remainder. I mean, first of all, it's great to see that Nicky Henderson is planning on sending Constitution Hill over to Punchestown because I thought as soon as we heard that Nico was injured, that he wasn't going to risk sending Con Hill over. I didn't think they'd let anyone else ride Con Hill bar Nico de Boinville. I also don't buy the fact that it's Nico's fault, his last two falls. Constitution Hill's come out of Nico's hands astride too early. Nico hasn't done anything to fight it. He hasn't asked him the question. That is purely Constitution Hill's fault. We have seen he's been schooling over fences this week and been doing pretty well, just to give him a little bit of confidence. Just to remind himself, he has to put in a little bit of effort to make sure that he's clearing his obstacles, I guess is the idea behind it. A bit of a point-to-point pole halfway up just to make sure he's actually being kept up to his work, really, because it's almost like he's got a little bit not lazy, but he's a bit overconfident, if anything, isn't he? What do you think? What do you think here, Liam? Like, it's if he goes, the 5-4 could be a good price, couldn't it? But we can't ignore the fact he's fouled twice. We can't ignore the fact he's fouled twice. So.
Absolutely not, mate. He couldn't be carrying my money just from a trust perspective. Like I'll be watching, not with my heart in my mouth. I'm not one of these fanatics about the horse. I do think he's an unbelievable talent. I think he has amazing ability. But I will be wincing every time he reaches a hurdle, just thinking, what is he going to do? And I completely concur with what you just said, mate, about Nico, especially at Aintree. Was Nico in the best position during that race? No, I think he just didn't ride a particularly good race. Yeah. Was there any fault whatsoever of Nico's due to the fact that he fell? 100% not. The horse is a law unto himself. He's just deciding when to absolutely launch at them, and he's not in tandem with his rider, and I don't think there's a rider that can change that. I think he's just doing whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He's almost being too headstrong to a degree. It just doesn't comply with what's on board. But I suppose everything's come so easy to him. In terms of this as a betting proposition, I would like to see El Fabiolo turn up here. I'd just like to see him back over hurdles, but obviously that's not going to happen. He's been declared over fences. Yeah, if you told someone at the start of the season that Constitution Hill was going to be fit and well, and you could have 5-4 for him to beat the champion hurdle winner at tens, I think people would have bit your hand off.
Yeah, definitely. He's battered State Man, hasn't he, already as well? Like, when he stayed up.
Yeah, that's it. Not one for me. I hope Brighter Days Ahead comes here. I think she'll be a different horse back in Ireland. I just don't think she handles Cheltenham. I think there's been two goes at that, and I think that's clear to see given the performances she's putting away from that venue. It'll be a no bet, I think, Joe, but I can't wait to watch it. I hope that the big three turn up. Well, it's big four, I suppose. That's doing Golden Ace a disservice.
Yes, you got to have her in there now. She's a champion, isn't she, at the end of
Absolutely.
it? Jumps racing, as we know. Liam, if you're having a bet and you've got one coming up the straight in contention, are you one of these that's going absolutely bonkers, or are you quite calm and collected, or what are you like in the stand? I know we've watched a few races together, but we've also had a few beers prior to that at the DRS. So I can't really remember the reaction.
Yeah, you've never seen me have a winner, Joe. That's the problem.
Oh, right.
Was that when you disappeared again, Joe? Is it?
Yeah.
You name having winners and you disappeared again, is it?
Mate, I was all over the place at the DRF. I was all over the book, James.
No, I get quite excited. I get quite giddy. But yeah, I suppose sometimes it's trying to separate your professional head as well from your love of the game. So I can get a little bit giddy and ahead of myself, I remember Sprinter Sacre obviously winning,
Yeah.
regaining his crown, or
Oh.
Galloping last year to make it 2 on the bounce, things like that. Can get no, I get overexcited. I'm not one of these level-headed that you might see in documentaries. No, I've got too much passion for it, I suppose.
Yeah, mate,
Which isn't always a good thing, but yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. I was just asking because sometimes the viewers want to know. And what about you, Jamie? You're a bit of a like your beard's in your hand like this, and it's splashing all over me. Like, God, you good thing, God. You're like biting your tongue when they're coming at the straight, and you cheer after, don't you?
I say nothing. No, I do it that way.
You're a bit like edgy, like trying to help
Yeah.
them.
I say nothing.
Just
I
splashing.
don't roar. Unless it's a huge bet. Yeah, I roar when it's nearly at the fucking line. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Apart from
Yeah.
last year when Cargazzi won the Spring Juvenile at the DRF, we all went mental then. I'll give you that. We all lost
Yeah,
our
no, because I actually bet Marsworth that day as well, and
Yeah.
back in the prime, and I didn't never fancy Carrigates, but I was roaring at home in the county hurl, get up,
Yeah,
get up.
there you go. There you go. Exactly.
I'm like you, Joe. Like the last previous show we did, I've been against him all year, but I think he'd just been here.
I do now, Jane. It's funny, isn't it? We try to
Yeah.
take it on all season long, but now I think he just gets
Um,
it done, and we go, "Hey, he's the greatest hurler."
Why, lads? Why the change of opinion in this race against the same similar opposition?
Do you
because
know what?
I think statement's done,
Do you know what it is for
and
me?
that's
It's
just
the
me.
fact he's fouled twice. I'm like, he's not going to do it again. There you go. I
But
think.
like we were
You know
saying
what I
earlier,
mean? It's
Liam, there's a good point to me about the hurdles, and is that a factor?
possibly the
The
color of
plastic
them.
hurdles.
Yeah, sure, sure,
You don't
sure.
have well, I don't know. Actually, I can't
Yeah.
remember. They're doing plastic hurdles at Punchestown. That'll be a very interesting point, actually.
So yeah, so they'll be obviously they've changed them obviously in the UK, haven't they, for the
Yeah.
padding to so there's less kind of bruising, cuts and things for the horses. But I just wondered perhaps if they provide less resistance just because the material they're made out of. But I
Possibly.
suppose, but it wasn't just a Constitution Hill thing. I think there's a few factors in this. Sorry to digress, but
No, no, go for it. That's what we want. Talk away.
All valid.
there's not enough quality racing, competitive racing. So these top class horses are running at champion pace on fewer and fewer occasions during the
Right.
season.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's unnatural, not unnatural, but you get my drift. It is unnatural to them rather than it being a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
I think training methods having changed and target training being so like it is. And also, I just did think potentially the fact that when they are going at this championship pace and now they've changed the hurdles, perhaps they provide less resistance. When they do clip one, because of the material they were made previously and the fact that they were wood, perhaps they provide a little bit more pushback.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas perhaps they just kind of fold like, I don't know.
And in Ireland, it's funny, they have two different types of hurdles. And the only reason I know this was because when Apples of Brazil for Barry Connell made his debut this year,
It was on easy fix.
that's it, the easy fix. And he hit the second last twice, and it just threw him off course.
They're like mini the easy fix they have over here.
Yeah. But
when you say two types of different hurdles, sorry, are they two types of different hurdles within one single track, or
no?
You have one or the other?
You have the easy fix ones now at Galway,
and you have like the French style. They're like
and the old style ones at Punchestown and Ferryhouse.
Yeah.
For the big meetings.
So some courses have them and some don't. And Barry said to me after, because I said, "Oh, he ran quite well." And he said, as soon as he hit that hurdle, I can't remember where it was. It was Galway, possibly.
It was Galway, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And he said it just took it out of him. He said, as soon as he hit that, he said, "Rest in peace, Mikey O'Sullivan was sat on him," sort of thing. And he just said he gave nothing.
Is it the sort of hurdles they have at Worcester and Southall?
That's kind of the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the only thing.
But either way, it seems like there's a big difference between.
See, it's exactly what you're saying, Joe. At Ferryhouse in the winter, in the inside track, they'd had the easy fix. But now when it comes like to Punchestown, the same for Punchestown, they have them on the insider tracks, like in Limerick, the inside track. They have the easy fix ones. Then when they go to the outer tracks, to the main meetings, they say they go back to the conventional hurdle. I suppose that's the only way I can describe it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Like, just almost going back to what you said though, Liam, because he's fouled. It's honest to God, I'm like, well, he's fouled twice. He's not going to do a third. I'm sort of looking at it like that. If Lossiemouth was in this race, it would be very different for me. If you had Lossiemouth, Stateman, and Brighter Days Ahead, I think there would be a lot of pace on in this race. But I'm not convinced
You
there's
need,
going
you
to
need,
be.
you need, you need, you need King Hinsfield in the race show to make the
Yeah,
best.
well, that's the thing. But because he's not in here, you're going to have brighter days
He's
ahead.
entering the 2 miler. Yeah, well, Lassimo is not obviously going.
Yeah,
Lassimo's going Saturday.
but you will have brighter days ahead in State Man. Go at a fair pace, but they're not going to be sprinting early on. I don't think brighter days ahead's going to actually do that this time round.
But
Because when she beat State Man, she didn't sort of go off sort of. Did she beat him at Punchestown first start of the season?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was there that day with the bear and all of that. And
She didn't
the
go
only thing, the
miles
only thing
clear
I
that
will never
day.
back brighter days ahead in the Grade One Grade One hurdle. Sorry, on better ground is that she got away with it in the Morgiana because
Yeah,
it was soft ground. Statement didn't look fit that day
that
because
was it. It was the
really, really
Morgiana.
soft.
Yeah, Morgiana, yeah.
Morgiana, and then Brighter Days was going out that way. She won't get away with that in a Grade One at Punchestown at the end of the season
Well,
compared to if
yeah.
it was soft ground. Yeah,
Do either of you think that there's too much made of that early season form anyhow? From
maybe.
brighter days ahead.
Possibly
Maybe.
now, in hindsight, yes, but at the
But I
time,
think Brighter Days ahead might bottle it, Liam. They might bottle it and take on Lasty Mountain the 2.5.
do you reckon that'd be interesting? That would be
That'd be a
interesting.
decent race then. Yeah. Yeah.
Liam makes
No,
a
constitutional limit.
Liam makes a real valid point there, saying about like that early season form because that's what me and you had hung our hats on, really, Jane, wasn't it? And then
We
when
did, yeah. We did, in fairness, yeah.
you
And
know,
obviously she backed it up.
yeah, but
Astonishingly, at Leopardstown, it was probably the best
that's what I was
performance
gonna. That's
all
what I was
year.
gonna say because when she was at Leopardstown, she winged everything.
Yeah.
Me and you said in the preview, we said we are with brighter days ahead, but she absolutely must win all of her hurdles again, and she didn't. So it was ruined from the get go.
What do we touch on that time, Joe? It's like Constitutional is probably getting into that bracket. If she has time to think Brighter Days ahead, she won't jump her
Yes,
profit.
yeah. I see what you're saying.
She has to go quick like that day. When I touched on, I knew she'd win at Leopardstown that day, but I didn't realize she'd win that well.
Yeah,
And
sure.
when King Hinsway went off so quick, she's no time to think.
She just
And
gets from one side to the other.
Ewing, in fairness to him, you have to give him credit where credit's due. He let her go. He let her into every hurdle, and she winged everything. Where they tried to do that at the champion hurdle, but King Hinsfield didn't bring her.
He couldn't go quick enough, could he? Like
for her at Cheltenham, and it didn't suit her. But she's not a Cheltenham horse, and it was regardless. Now, if you had put this with you, a decent horse that actually would go quick enough, say 100, like to remember
a bullet train.
Yeah, Franco. Yeah, exactly.
Or like, do you remember years ago they used to put these horses in the Tingle Creek that were 150 to 1, 200 no hopers. They used to go stupid pace, but it only gets you to so far. Where King Kingsford didn't do that in the champion hurdle for her. Not cribbing King Kingsford. I'm more cribbing Brighter Days ahead because I thought she was terrible. I'm like, she barely got over the last. Do you know what I mean? In the champion hurdle, which is very, very bitterly.
She got a bit of a bump, didn't she? Which was slightly inconvenienced her. But I think that's being generous, Jay. I agree with you.
Yeah, she's not a Cheltenham horse, and just move on. She might fool us all now, and she could come back and win over 2 miles. But I think they could go 2.5 with her to take on Lassimo. But they might be afraid. Like even Gordon Elliott said at the start of the season, they were afraid of Lassimo. So
sure.
Yeah.
Do you think they try and go chasing with her now?
I think they will next year.
You reckon? Yeah.
Sorry to labour on this race any longer, but do you think that obviously there's not been an equal amount of outroar or upset with the fact that Lossiemouth isn't entered here and is evidently going to go to the mares? Do you think that Connections are justified to send her down that mares route, even though she's far superior, because they've got all of the intermediate trip form, including the Aintree hurdle? Or should people be more frustrated and banging the drum about the fact she should be in this?
I think the problem is, Liam, that they upgraded this horse a couple of years ago to a grade 1. And this wouldn't even be a question years ago. This was a grade 3. If I'm stand corrected. I think this was a grade 3 even about 3 or 4 years ago. Now they've moved it up to a grade 1.
You should have no mares races should ever be a grade 1 race.
I agree with you.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I think that's...
Years ago, Richie had a horse called Tarla. I never forget it, right? And I think it won the same race, but it was a grade 3. I don't know if it was a novice, but I think it was a grade 3 because she came from France, and they upgraded it. I think that's ruined all of that.
Totally. I don't mind mares races.
They moved it up for what? Like you're going to get a 4 or 5 runner field.
Yeah.
It's not
or is it for breeders to produce more better mares? Because if we were talking about this on the flat, people would say we're mental.
Yeah.
Same, remove the Oaks, remove the 1,000.
Well,
Remove the Falmouth because it's too close to this. And do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I don't buy that myself whatsoever because I understand we need good mares for breeding, but there's a few ways you can look at this. You look at the likes of Apple's Jade, she's now producing horses. You look at Annie Power, she's producing horses. You look at Quevega, she was producing horses. I don't think you'd lose any love by running Lossiemouth and Brighter Day to head in the champion hurdle, even if they finish second and third. I think that's plenty of credit to say they're deserving of being good mares. Second point, if you want grade one mares races, they should be away from the Cheltenham Festival. Have the finale this weekend at Sandown or Fairy House, Punchestown, wherever. You can't give people options because they will take those options. It's just the way it is.
But exactly what you made a point there, Zona, and I'll touch on that briefly. You have to remember when Q Vega won the race, it was a grade 2.
Yeah, well, there you go. And she's still
Was it? What, for the entirety of her 6?
Yeah, all 6.
Yeah.
I should know that.
It might have been started as a grade 3 in the first 2. You know.
Yeah, I think it might have been. It was either grade 2 or grade 3. Yeah.
Did she go to
came back every year?
And didn't she win a grade? Did she win a grade 1 at Punchestown over?
She won 3 or 4 at the Punchestown stairs afterwards. Do you know what I mean?
Great.
That'll touch back on a couple of points about competitive racing, what you'd made there like years ago, because Ruby had the best of both worlds, right? Ruby didn't have the best of both worlds, right? Any part won 3 champion hurdles. Q Vega won a stairs hurdle.
Oh God,
there'd be no argument. Do you know what I mean? But I think definitely if they want competitive racing to come back for Cheltenham, because the Thursday card, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, was probably the worst Thursday I've ever seen in Cheltenham in my
This is hilarious. We'll be talking about Royal Ascot in about 3 months, and we'll end up talking about the Cheltenham Festival again.
Yeah, well, definitely.
But it was crazy. They should have never touched that mare's hurdle. Leave it at a grade 2. And if Lossiemouth wants to run it, give him £8 say, or £7 say, penalty next year. Best of luck to her.
Yeah, sure.
You have to do it because they got rid of the Turners. And if you look about it technically now, the Turners this year have been a fantastic grade 1 with about 15 runners.
Sure. And
Colbert Potter would probably still won it anyway.
And look, you go back and look at the mare's novice. You had Golden Ace win the race. Lossiemouth bottled the champion hurdle. Golden Ace decided to run. Fortune favours the brave. She won the champion hurdle. I don't care what happens with the rest. Her name is on that title because she took her chance. It's simple as that.
And you have to jump them. The clue's in the name, isn't it?
That mare's novice, but just saving the mare's really, Joe, is that it's still a grade 2. I mean, look at the race of Brighter Days had Golden Ace.
Sure.
That was only a 12-runner race, but this year there were 26 in it.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? I know someone probably had no hope, but it's still 26 runners.
The limit in that race should have been where Jade the Grugian and July Flowers marks are.
Yeah.
Any higher than 153 to 155.
155 less or 150 less, you could even go that far.
And then you either run Lossiemouth in the mare's hurdle where you give an £8 penalty, or you run in the champion hurdle and you claim 7. Like, you know.
Yeah, £15 swing.
Exactly. Yeah. You run. I could go on about this for hours. I get bloody frustrated talking about it.
But sorry, the final point on this, it'll be interesting. I was thinking earlier, what route Bambino Fever, if she backs up the performance she's already put in, and wins at Punchestown this week, she's more than likely to probably end up in the mare's novice, whereas she's proven herself against the geldings,
the Supreme Neptune horse.
Yeah, exactly.
But it'd be great to see her go down the Supreme route, wouldn't it? Like basically,
it would, and it looks like they're willing to throw in against the geldings on the flat essentially this week. Yeah. Let's hope they continue to fortune favours the brave and all that, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's a point as well because, like you said, she's up against the geldings this week. They're happy to run her. If she beats the geldings in this race, half of them are going to go to the Supreme. She's still going to go to the mare's novice.
Exactly, yeah.
You've even got 1 point before we move on. I agree with you. Keep the mare's hurdle, but make it a grade 2 like it always was. There was no mare's novice. There was no mare's chase. Well, the mare's chase is a joke, anyway. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
Right? But if you got rid of the mares, right? Like if you look back at the horse that I can't think of the name of the Gigginstown horse that won the Turners that time, you don't see that anymore. Do you know what I mean? It'll come to me, but you just don't see that anymore. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's taken away. So if you got rid of them, I know it's all breeding now, but if you got rid of the mare's novice and the mare's chase, all these horses go back into graded company against the geldings, getting the £7. What's the problem?
And suddenly we get competitive racing again, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. So
The mare,
I was just trying to search what if
Shattered Love.
Shattered Love, yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
love.
I had to Google it. I wasn't off the top of
Yeah,
my
but
head.
you think about it, like in the mares, would you see that again for another a couple of years the way it's going?
Exactly,
You won't,
exactly.
like.
And look, imagine if like we have the champion hurdle. All right, Constitution might be the best when he's at his best, but if we had then Lossiemouth, Brighter Days Ahead, Golden Ace, even the likes of Woodoo, it'd
And the
just be
new
a
lion.
big competitive race. Yeah, we'd have the new Lion in there as well. You know, suddenly you've got a proper tactical race where Conhill can't just go out off in front or sit behind one and then just sort of pick him off. You've got to win a tactical race.
3 days, 3 days.
Yeah. Do you know what, Liam? This is the thing, man. Honestly, me and Jamie have had this chat.
Let's not
I've
joke.
actually finally come. I've actually gone. It's like a Constitution Hill full circle.
Yeah, it is.
I'm starting to agree. It should be
Yeah.
24 races, 8 race card each day, 3 days, and get on with it.
Yeah, totally, totally. Because look, me and Jamie said before, as racing fans, we're greedy. We want the 4 days. It's just our
Yeah.
thing, you know. 5 days though would dilute it far too much. It'll become like the Punchestown Festival where we've got too many handicaps that maybe are running over the same trip. If you bring it back to 3 days, my gosh, you'd have a mentally good festival. Get rid of the mayor's races.
Yeah.
Run the finale at Sandown or make them grade twos. Carry that penalty. If you want to run in the better race, you can claim £7, like we were saying. Big swing.
Absolutely.
So. But look, Constitution Hill. Then that's what we're saying. I completely forgot, sort of thing. But,
Yeah, Constitution for me.
yeah. Look, there doesn't look like there's a ton of pace in this race this time. Hopefully, oh God, we're hypocrites in this one, Jamie and you. I'll tell you because we're both.
100% I'm a hypocrite, but look, I've been against him all year. But in all jokes aside, I think he'll win here. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. The 5-4 is a steal. Why is he 5-4 though? Why is it because of the falls? Is it because he
The
might
falls.
not turn up?
What would you make him to complete?
Oh.
I'd still.
He'd probably be better. He'd probably be your price, Liam.
No. I'd still have him 1-4, 1-5, and the rest. I would to complete. I'd still have him very, very short because bookies wouldn't want to take a chance.
Oh,
But
they won't take a chance now.
in an old school market back in the day, that would probably be factored quite heavily into it, wouldn't it? And then they'd say,
I think also worth considering though. Obviously, fell, took a chance at the last. That was Nico error in all fairness to him. He slowed him right down. Just didn't have the revs up to do.
when was it Cheltenham?
New Year's Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Trials Day, whatever it was.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, okay, fair enough at that time.
Day before that, he winged one from right outside the wings.
Of course he did. That's right. Yeah, I remember. And at Kempton, he did the same, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, but look, you have to think like right-handed as well. Right-handed as well. His best performance was Kempton.
Jumped the shadow for his champion hurdle win. Jesus, I wouldn't want to put my parents' mortgage on him at 1-4 to complete.
No, definitely not. But look, let's hope we get a real good race. And if he goes over there and can do it in Ireland, then look, fair play. Good on you, Nicky. You've gone and sent him there now. You're going to go on there and hopefully.
Absolutely.
We can't argue with that. Have I missed any more on Friday? Are we on to Saturday?
Well, that's it.
Yeah, so we've got the Mayor's Champion Hurdle, the grade.
I think we touched on that last month, Lewin. Go on, move on. To the
4-year-old. Fine. We'll move on. Fine. 450 next, I think, isn't it? We've got the Ballymore, effectively. The Ballymore Champion 4-year-old hurdle over 2 miles. Hello, neighbours in here. I'll tell you what, me and Liam were talking a few weeks back about possibly doing an episode where we talk about some flat horses, Liam, for the jumps. There's one for us. That's just sort of sprung to mind. Hello, neighbour. You could do well over a trip on the flat, couldn't he, Jane? He'd be that sort of horse, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, like, he got exposed in the flat, like, because he only won a maiden around Roscommon, and then all of a sudden he was touted. When, obviously, on his debut, we couldn't see half of it, obviously, in the fog of Christmas.
Yeah.
My problem with him, Joe, well, I tipped him, obviously, I'm blowing smoke, at the DRF, and you were all over St. Nicholas.
That's right, yeah.
Look, you have to look at it that way, that I knew that day in my head that there'd be no pace in the race, and he won as a flat horse.
Yeah, sure.
And I was always worried about the extra furlong and the fast pace in the Cheltenham Festival, and I couldn't have him an extra furlong.
And then I fell for him that day, didn't I, at Cheltenham? I said,
he's back now to 2 mile flat track, undulating quick track, right? My problem with Hello Neighbour is that he could be a 1-2 mile horse in the flat.
Yeah.
Is he a 2 miler off a fast pace? No, I'm really struggling to see where the pace angle is in this race, to be honest with you. And there's a lot of unexposed horse that when he is thrown into the Triumph and they're coming back here. I really liked that Blue Lemons last day actually won, but I'm
I
going to.
did. Yeah, I did.
I think it was decent. Mercia would have a chance here off, but he's up now. She's up now to mark 141, stuffed in the boodles, but got the huge swing of put your hands together in the entry. I really like Live Conti as a horse going forward. I think he's a great wood skeleton project for next year. And Mercia stuffed it at the entry. Poineras, obviously, I think I backed Poineras last year, right? Ascot, I think. When he was at Amaro, and then he wanted to try him. He could fool us all and be a right good horse. My worry about obviously the main horse is Nicky Henderson's Lulamba. Will it turn up with no rain forecast? Is my problem. What if it turns up with still win?
Why is he going over there with these? By the way, why is he all
But
of
he's
a
still,
sudden?
but if you remember last couple of years ago, he came over with Marie's Rock and all those horses.
Okay,
Like, remember now, he had Nico rode Pigeon
yeah,
House
that's
or
it for
Harrington
Jesse Harrington, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Nicky stays with Jesse, so there's no problem there. He has done for years, even if he has no runners. We always see Nicky Henderson on Thursday and Friday punch down the parade ring with Harrington's horses there if she has runners. So that's nothing new. That's been done for the last 25 years, if not more, but for my time. But if Lolamba runs, it'll win. I think if that triumph was ran back again, Lolamba would win. I think he's a top class horse going forward. Is he in the mold of Sergino? Yeah, he is. Is he as good as Sergino? Maybe not, but
We'll find out,
he
won't we?
don't have to be as good as Sergino for next year. But the only problem with Lolamba is going into a Kopek de Board era next year, and the yellow clay and all those, and the new lines going to the Champion Ireland.
William Money as well. Like in all seriousness as well, like
There's all horses.
Yeah.
It's going to be a decent season next year for horses this season.
Salvatore Mundi even still
Yeah,
comes.
I always think, Joe. I've always said that like Cheltenham horses in festivals are every second year. It's just me. It's just the way I've always done it. Do you have it? I didn't think it was great this year, but next year will be even better, I think.
Yeah.
But if Lolamba turns up, but I'm struggling after there's a Hello Neighbor, Mercia, Poineras. I don't know. I'll sit in the fence, but if Lolamba turns up, they'll win.
Do we get a bit sort of caught sometimes, like with like Lulamba, for example, where like he is the next Sergino. Nothing about him is like Sergino. He just runs in the Donnelly colours for Nicky Henderson. Like, do we fall into
He's
a
good.
trap?
He could fall into a trap, but he is good.
Yeah, that's right.
It is just all the same connection. So
yeah,
same people, and as you say, Donnelly colours sent to Henderson. He looks like a big scopy horse, though, doesn't he, for the future?
Yeah.
And I agree with Jamie. If he does turn up here, I think he could be difficult to beat. The one thing that I still can't get my head around, and I don't mean to keep referring back to Cheltenham, but obviously the Poineras that's gone off at 100 to 1, right, for Willie Mullins and owned by one of the shrewdest gamblers that ever graced this planet in Tony Bloom. And evidently, he's not had a pound on. I think that just shows potentially, like sometimes the best in the business don't even know.
Yeah, cool.
Doesn't it? It's mental, really.
Well, we were discussing, like, weren't we, about sort of like how does Paul Townend get it right so often? And it's like, well, at Close Sutton, they probably put them so much through their paces so regularly that it's easier to sort of identify, isn't it? But when they're like juveniles like this, like, you don't really know what they're going to show, and he'd never even jumped a hurdle in public, sort of thing. So it's, they might have just thought, well,
I get the point, and I'd be controversial here. I think, look, we know Nico is Nico, and he's been a great jockey down the years, and he's entitled to his opinion more than anybody. I think he's right. I think it's too many. I think it's ridiculous. I thought he was wrong in his interview, and that's just my opinion. But I think he's right in the long term.
But Jamie, do you think it's the job of everybody else to come up to his standard rather
than
try to clip his wings?
I get your point, Liam. I do. But they're such a monopoly now, the Mullins, that it's ridiculous. Like, why are they buying all these 4-year-olds for? Look, I know you have to keep owners happy. I understand that, and that's what it's all about. But it's only 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 owners. Right? Why do they all want these juvenile horses? Do you know what I mean? This wasn't a factor years ago.
But I suppose you could argue it's kind of not. It used to be perhaps in smaller hands, but now Farm Demand is in different colours. Kopek the boards, obviously.
They're all the same trainer, though, Liam. Where that was
Yeah.
out years ago.
But I think it's not just his training ability. I'm not saying that it's because he's evidently a far better networker and things like that. 'Cause he's managed to build these relationships with wealthy people, to invite them in and to make them fall in love. So I think it's more than just his training ability. There's a reason why all these people continually go and spend £500,000 on a gelded horse to go jumping. So I think there's more kind of facets to it.
It's his training ability too, Dave, but I'll tell you one thing.
Absolutely.
And it's his training ability, I agree with you, but I'm telling you now one thing, and I'll make a 100% point, and this is a 100% fact. Willie Mullins would be not without Harold Kirk.
Yeah, no, sure.
It wasn't for Harold Kirk and his
sure.
relationship with them, because it was one of the Costellos before, and then it went to Harold Kirk. If Paul Nichols or Harry Skelton had Harold Kirk in their thing, there'll be no Willie Mullins winning a British Championship for the last 2 years. He kept the right ones. You have to look about. It swings around, but I understand that. But I understand where they're coming from. Where they're constantly going from. You look now at Rich Ritchie compared to what no one was cribbing Rich Ritchie when he had any power. Vautour, Duvan,
Jacket.
They were all in different codes. You had like a two.
No, I understand that, but why did he get them all? And all of a sudden now you see Rich Ritchie. To be honest, he only has Lassie Moat, in my opinion, and Gaelic Warrior, right? Who are decent horses going forward. After that, he's young horses he's buying.
Yeah, like
as good as they were.
Like lately, what's he had lately? St. Lucie, dog, Mr. Policeman. Okay, he won that.
Willie Duhel.
Willie Duhel, unfortunately, it faded. Mystic Power is not great, really.
Power,
I mean, it's swings roundabout where Donnelly seems to be getting right, because they targeted a couple of weeks ago.
Are either of you surprised that more trainers haven't adopted the Willie Mullins approach, where basically their close up season starts end of November? Forget Chepstow, forget everything that happens early season. Most of their horses, they let Gordon sweep up at Down Royal and so on. The season starts in December. And then when it comes to the business end, where all the big prize money is, especially in the UK and all the nationals, they're still primed, kind of thing.
This is for me where Gordon Elliott has to adapt immediately, because for start he only buys pointers, and they're not turning out to be as good as any of the French horses that are making the Cheltenham Festival. And secondly, he targets all of his horses for the very beginning of the season.
Down Royal,
and then he gives them a rest through Christmas. He lets Willie Mullins go and take them, and then he tries to prime him again for Cheltenham.
DRF, he hardly turns up, does he, really?
Henry de Brame tried it this year, not turning up at the Dublin Race Festival with all these main horses. Now he's coming into form now, coming into the end of the season.
Yeah, cool. He had a few winners as well.
They need to make some rules that make the Dublin Race Festival even more. Look, we all love it. It's fantastic 2 days. But it is technically Willie Mullins' benefit. They need to do something with that. You saw, I was talking to Joe during the week, they've put up the price massively for it next year.
Yeah, disappointing.
That's Ireland, though. I think it's the way society, it doesn't matter what country we're in now. If you see a good meeting like that and everyone flocks to it, everything else.
I think it's a careful thing that we have to balance between kind of allowing meritocracy and the best to rise to the top.
Yeah.
But also ensuring that it doesn't become too lopsided, really, in terms of monopoly.
Gordon Elliott nearly beat Willie Mullins for the championship. Do you know what I mean? And now it's gone completely full circle. Like, he has big owners, Gordon Elliott, but I think the problem what happened with Gordon Elliott is that the Gigginsdown went back to Willie Mullins after pulling all of them from Willie Mullins.
And they probably don't buy as many, do they, either now?
They still do, but now they're sending the ones, like, is leader of the board with Willie Mullins tomorrow? I think he is, isn't he? Where years ago, where they pulled about the training fees were Willie Mullins, that was music to the ears of the rest of the trainers in Ireland. Now he's gone back to him, and that's after ruining it, in my opinion.
We've almost got...
Just send them all to Keane Collins. Just send them all to Keane Collins.
They love that. Yeah, Keane Collins only trains up the road.
It's almost like we have too much racing now, but there's too little for Willie Mullins' string, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I put it this way to you, Joe, and this has been 100% serious. I was involved with the horse office years ago. You knew Off Your Rocco. I was a syndicate, and we enjoyed it. It was great fun, right? But if you put a gun to my head, if I wanted a horse for 40 grand in the morning, I want a flat horse. But I tell you why. because there's more money in the flat. There's more money in winning a Mickey Mouse hot race around
Yeah.
God knows what greyhound track in Ireland, right? And you'll make your money and sell the horse afterward.
Yeah, sure,
And it's a sad way because what we all love is national hunt racing. The
sure.
money isn't there because look at the Grand National. And sorry, I'm going off again.
Sorry.
Look at the Grand National. If me, you, or Liam Firkin, who God knows who what, if we bought a horse, our horse would probably never be good enough to run now in the Grand National.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
sure,
why I
sure.
think the monopoly of the races and the owners have ruined national hunt racing. We love it. It's still always going to be there. But that's the problem. You can argue then, flip it over to the flat, where Aidan O'Brien, the Godolphin, win all the big races around America, the Guineas, but you still have the small Joe Soap, the likes of your Galway festivals, your likes of your Goodwoods, syndicates winning races, or owners that who only come into the game bought a horse for 10 grand. Look at Hewitt, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
a great story. But if you put a gun to my head, if I told the lads, and you know my friends, if we want to go in a horse again, I want a flat horse because we'll make more money.
And I think you're right, Jamie. And I think part of the reason that kind of normal people or whatever are priced out in national hunt is because it's become between fewer people bidding much greater amounts against each other. So it just becomes a smaller club, really.
It does.
So the price is being driven by fewer owners who are competing over fewer horses. And the reason there's fewer horses is because it's so much more expensive.
Yeah,
totally.
And so
they know they're wealthy enough, Liam, because they know they're not going to make it back, but they don't care.
There's so
yes, it's their hobby, isn't it? It's their golf club.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Yeah.
You got such a much better novice program over in Ireland as well to run the horses in, and it has got to the point these days where, like you said, James, Harold Kirk is so good at buying. If a French horse hasn't ended up with Willie Mullins, there's probably a reason for it as well. Ben Pauling bought a horse called Mambo Number 5 for 450 grand.
Yeah.
He was the bidding back and forth with Willie Mullins. Got to the point Mullins said, "Nope, I'm stopping here."
Yeah.
And Pauling paid the extra. The reason he paid extra was because Willie didn't want it.
Look at the Brookhouses, Joe. Remember they used to pay massive money for the Hobbs horses. Do you know what I mean?
Jesus,
and he went to Ben Brookhouse went out on his own, and was it the likes of
Dave Yates, who's recently got out, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, even like Johnny Delahaye. In fairness, he bought good horses, and there's no cribbing. But are they? Like, he had Suriname, he's Victoria. Those horses never go to Cheltenham.
Yeah, sure.
He won with Diego de Charmin with the Boodles. That's first time out. But if we could maybe one day, if we always said, "Oh, we'll do the syndicate horse," get a horse from France, and then you put him first time out, well handicapped in the Boodles. That might be your only chance to win.
Sure.
Race at Cheltenham. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Joe?
Yeah, of course. And you got to Sorry, I had a point then as well. I had a point. But yeah, like Johnny Delahaye, this shows buying powers. Captain Teague was nearly 500,000.
Yeah.
Captain nothing. Captain Bellamy, nearly 500,000. Nothing. There's another like it as well. Again,
Reese Tishan.
Tishan's another. That wasn't even the one I was thinking of, but that's exactly another prime example. Look at the Hammer and Trowel syndicate now. Facile Vega, Aurora Vega.
They're selling Aurora Vega.
Yeah.
But is that a little bit of an anomaly, Joe? Have they not landed on their feet by having Quavega, and they probably didn't pay a huge penny for her many years ago, did they? So
probably right. Yeah, that's probably
going to sell that other one, Cameletta Vega.
Yeah, she's no good. Good.
But she'd probably win be like a syndicate to buy that. They'll win a handicap around God knows where, and black type, and away you go.
Yeah. Exactly. No, you're probably right there, Liam. That's probably a bad example on my end.
But I get your point, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So buying power, it's just huge now, and they've got agents out in France all the time. The best one at the moment. There's a Dr. Dino 3-year-old that's just been bought. Bear with me. I'll give you the name of this. It's well worth knowing. Where are we? Frenchies. I've done a list.
Is it Toby Jones?
No, it's called Matan Midi A Soir. Dr. Dino.
Sorry, not the horse. I meant the buyer.
Sorry, no. Munir and Suede have got him, actually. He's with Nicole, but he's probably going to come over to Ireland. But they reckon this is the best 3-year-old out there at the moment. Just to reel off a couple of others, got Mandlager, who's just been sent to Nicky Henderson, bought by JP, related to Gaelic Warrior. Gaelic Warriors brother's been named as well. I don't know if you heard Sparkling Wit. So I assume we'll see him at some point as well. But then another prime example, Mojito de Mott got from France, a 3-year-old. JP McManus, and he's gone to Ben Paulin. So there's probably a reason why he's not with Willie Mullins if you want to be like that anyway. Right, anyway, we are getting off well on a tangent, and this was only meant to be a short episode. Saturday, where did we get to? Yeah. Is that everything? We wrapped up?
So yeah, from my perspective, just from the 4-year-old, I think Charles potentially could show some improvement. Whether he'll be good enough to win this, I'm not so sure, Joe. Blue Lemons, you both give a mention to. Wouldn't put anybody off that.
Yeah. Back in that at the top weight, that beat Mercier in a grade 3 and then won again next time. That could be certain to.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 maybe.
Give it to me. OJ was obviously absolutely hacked up on the last day. It's a bit of a lottery. I'll have to have another look at this race, and I'll probably look and come up with absolutely nothing. I would have thought.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Right, before we sort of wrap up, Jane, you got some handicap fancies for the week, don't you?
Go on, Liam. Sell Swiger to me. What race does it? Go on, and I'll put on the.
No, you've sold it to me, Jamie.
No. Whatever. It's running. When's it running? I know it's here. Tuesday.
So yeah, it runs tomorrow. So yeah, the horse is Billy Lee Swagger. What I'm looking at currently, 11s. Get on Oddschecker and obviously compare all prices. But I think his last 3 performances at this track are something along the lines of 2nd of 20 odd, 4th of 24. 2nd of 19, 4th of 24, and then 1st of 20 odd runners. So evidently performs here. He's only £3 higher than that 2nd place finish last time at Punchestown, and he's actually getting a claim of 7, I think, tomorrow. So he's actually at the weights officially carrying less, or unofficial ratings lower than that 2nd place finish, and he should have won that day. It was one of the first watch alongs we did, I do remember. So yeah, I do think that'll go close. But Jamie, I can't take credit for it. You certainly flagged that one up, mate. Other than that, I haven't had an awful lot of a in-depth look at the rest of the week. So you'll be far better placed than me, mate, to start shouting out the winners.
Yeah, I agree with you. Liam, I was there. It was 2nd binge birdie that day in Punchestown on Morgana Day, and I thought it was giving an awful rate. Kennedy
quite wide, wasn't he?
Yeah, well too wide. The only horse that actually fancying that race is a horse called London Office Calling for Gavin Cromwell. He definitely have a chance on this, but he won the last day. I don't like that. I'd rather you lose going into these races.
Yeah, sure.
Very rarely you get a winner and then a win on top when he comes into, especially an opportunity final or whatever they call it now. I mentioned the 3 there earlier. No, on the Wednesday, I can't believe they're actually running the grade 3 mares bumper the same day as the actual grade 1. But if Shoalin runs, Joel will win.
The Paddy Toomey mare.
Yeah. I think she's declared. She will be sharp. She'll win. On the Thursdays, there's 2 obviously. If on the mares listed novice hurdle, if 6.5 runs, obviously. There's definitely one for the ACCAs for the week.
Sure.
Wait till it's declared tomorrow morning and put in all your ACCAs, because nothing will beat her on the better ground. And that Thursday bumper, the last race, is like a grade 1 in name. It's nearly as good normally as the grade 1 bumper. So you have the likes. It all depends on who runs, and whoever runs between the 2 of them. If it's Zarfatal runs, or even
he's due to run. He is due to run.
Kaiser Ball. Now, the only thing I was Mr. Costa will be on Kaiser Ball anyway, and it'll be up against Zarfatal. It'll get £7 from Zarfatal. So it's up to you which one you want to back. I'll put a gun to my head. I will back Kaiser Ball to beat Zarfatal.
I was going to go the other way. I'll go the other way.
So the 3 after, Shoalin to look after. If there's a horse during the week, it was 4 last year in the Goss bumper, the same race of leader of the board. If he turns up in the bumper maybe Friday or Saturday, it's a horse of the Gallop in the Champ Cutters. He hasn't been seen since last year's Goff's Land Rover bumper. It's called King Rasco Grey. was well touted in the race last year, won by Sir Manzarek, and he's not bad. If he turns up first time out in the bumper or whatever bumper he runs in, he might turn up. If he does, keep an eye out for him, King Rascograd.
Yeah, interesting. All right, nice. Any others? Was that the list? That list for you?
No, I have no handicapper because I looked at him. No.
Cool. All right. Well, that is a wrap. Thanks everyone for tuning in once again. This was only meant to be short and sweet. I'm pretty sure we've done a good near hour and a half, but we don't mind that at the end of the day, as long as you all enjoy the content. A few little bits of ranting in between, which we always enjoy. We love the sort of side topics that we talk about through the episodes. It's always good fun. I even had an idea. I haven't even discussed with you guys yet. Maybe we'll even do a season review where we just sort of, us three, and we get our friend Sean on or something like that. We just start ranting about some of the performances through the season, what we're thinking next year. But we'll talk about that off camera. We are obviously about to get into full swing for the flat season as well. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We can't do this without you. We really do appreciate the fact that so many of you comment as well. It's been great interacting with you. We'll probably start doing a section where we start answering some of your questions because you put loads in the comment section every week. Liam's obviously with us now for the foreseeable future. Liam is also part of Oddschecker, so you can check out all of his content there. Always finding some long shots. You can find the link there on Liam's. You can find the link below this video as well, or on my profile. Jaime, massive thank you to you as always, mate. I really can't do the show if you weren't doing it with me. Very much a valued member of the team. Been my number one sidekick for a while now, and I really do appreciate everything you do. So if everyone can also follow Jaime on Twitter, you're not going to miss out on any of the good stuff, are you, really? So thanks everyone for tuning in. Liam, we'll be back again soon. Jaime, we'll be back again soon. Viewers, we will be back again soon. This episode was sponsored by Oddschecker, and we'll see you all real soon. Bye for now.